Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first $1 million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Super Agents Live. Hey, for all of you guys, thanks for tuning in. My name's Toby Salgado. What we do on the show is we talk about real estate. We talk about how to grow your business. Today we're having kind of a different show. On Wednesdays, I do a solo show. Before I get into the content of what today's show is going to be about, I want to bring up a couple things for all of you that are listeners. If you're new, hey, thanks for showing up. I'm glad you found it, and hopefully you get some value out of this. We have a hashtag for the show. It is hashtag Unpack That Idea. Now, when you tweet out, when you listen to this episode, find a nugget you like. And tweet it out using that hashtag. And look, we're starting a big follow train. I'll follow you. Everybody else in the audience, I suggest we all follow one another. And look, we're all here together. We're all doing this together, building our businesses. And we want to support one another. Speaking of support, we want to win. Inman.com they do a contest or what, they nominate one thing as the most innovative app for 2014. We want to be nominated. We only have another couple of weeks to be nominated, and hopefully we will win. So you can go to the show notes and go to the show notes, and there's an orange button. You say click, or I'm sorry, read more. It'll pop up, and I will have a button there. All you have to do is press that button, and scroll down to number 10 and nominate the show. Why would you do that? Well, hopefully you like the show. Hopefully, man, you get so much value out of this. You're willing to take 5 minutes out of your busy day, because dude, I take a lot of time to these freaking shows, man. Anyhow, sorry. So nominate the show. What you will get is we have a big mastermind. Now, this mastermind costs $147, which is dirt cheap. I have some other friends out here who have some masterminds, and they charge $500 a month. I'm sorry, it is a quarter. So we're just charging $147 a quarter. Now, here's what I will do. If you nominate the show, take a screenshot, send it to me at Toby, T-O-B-Y, at Super Agents Live. I will get you in. I'll let you experience that for a quarter of the year for free, 3 months. And look, a lot can happen in 3 months. Now, I'm going to tell you some stuff that happened to me the last week. And I'm only going to tell you because it is an introduction into this content for the show. Now, I'll tell you two kind of cool things happened. One is last week I was interviewed by Yahoo. Now, Yahoo, right? They are doing a giant feature on, somebody who's been successful in real estate. So they found me, and I just did a 20-minute interview, and they're actually, by the end of this week, they're going to be done. I don't know how many people they're interviewing, but my sense is there's 20 people that they're going to interview, right? So I made the cut to the top 20 or maybe top 10. I'm not sure. But if I get featured, it is going to be great for the show and great for my personal brand. They are going to fly the winner or the person they're going to feature out to New York, and we're going to do an in-studio, like on-camera, big feature for Yahoo. So cross your fingers and send me some love, because I would love to do that. That would be really cool. The other thing that I did is I threw my hat into the ring. There's for a TV show. There's a TV show, and they're looking for a host, and it's they're looking for a host. They actually want somebody to be kind of gnarly. Like, it's a show about, new buyers, and they want houses they can't afford. So they need a host that can just kind of get on those people. So look, I can do that. So I threw my hat into the ring now. Now, why is that important? Why did I tell you that? Just to say I was cool? Kind of. No. It's because of this. They found me. Yahoo found me. This show found me because of this show. When I say that, I'm sorry, the TV show. So this podcast, this blog, I'm creating content and I'm pushing it out to the world. And people are listening. People are hearing it. And because I have this platform, because, I'm not afraid to get my stuff out there, I'm getting some exposure. Okay. I'm telling you this because those things would have never happened without the blog and the podcast. Now, for you, and look, that's what the show today is about. It's about your blog. I know it's dry. I know it's not that exciting on the front. Stick with me, and hopefully I'm going to convince you that you should be updating your blog more, right? So almost all of you out there, you have a blog tab on your website. But almost all of you out there never do anything with that. Now, I've been on thousands of real estate websites, literally thousands. And the blogs are terrible, man. Like, they're not updated, like they're not there, or the last time they were updated was 3 months ago. And, look, if I was buying a house and I was looking at you to list my house, that doesn't, for me, I'm like, who is this person? Are they a part-time person? Or, why do they have this blog, but they don't do anything with it? That doesn't create, if you're not going to do anything with it, just erase it, right? Just get rid of the tab. But you should keep that up. You should keep your blog up to date with relevant, tasty material. Now, why don't you keep it up, right? Why don't you do anything with it? Well, look, the most common one is that you think nobody's reading it, right? Or, another common one is you don't know what to say, or because you don't think anybody's reading it, you think it's a waste of time. And I will absolutely tell you, yeah, nobody's reading your blog. And they're not reading it because it's not consistent. I mean, imagine this show, right? I mean, I do a very good job of putting out 3 shows a week. And again, this is a full-time gig for me, right? I've been doing this for 7 months, and it literally takes it's full time to pop out 3 hours of great content. Now, it's worth it for me just because, just like I said, right? Yahoo fan me, this TV show fan me. So anyhow, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to hopefully convince you why you should stay on top of your blog. Now, listen, if you don't know what to say, I see the other thing, people don't know what to say on their blog, but they're trying to update it, and they just drop crappy posts like, hey, new listing 3-2 for $500,000 or whatever. Let's move on. Okay. Let's go get it. And look, for you guys, if I didn't have this blog, like I said, or this podcast, would I, because I do, I might get a TV show, or I might get a giant feature on Yahoo. What about you? Have you got any press from your little, what are they even called? Newspapers, right? Have you got any press? If you haven't, it's because you're not out there enough. You need to get out there more. Okay, so now I'm hoping to convince you of the power of blogging in this episode, and not how it can just get you exposure, but how it can get you leads, right? Because everything's about leads. So I'm going to remind you, and I hope for those of you who are still sticking with me and you think that this blog stuff is worth spending a little time listening to me talk about it, I appreciate it, because I know that I probably lost 10% of my audience in the last, I've been on air 8 minutes. I probably lost 10% of you. For the remaining 90% or 60% or whoever else is out there, let me remind you why you should be blogging. Number 1, it builds your brand on the internet. So we know that across the board, all age groups, whether you're 19 or 90, all age groups begin their home search by using the internet, right? Our buyers are there. Our sellers are there. How come you're not? Okay, number 2, for your list, and your sphere of influence, a well-kept blog will keep you top of mind when either they think about selling or, their buddy, at work or their neighbor says, hey, do you know a real estate agent? Now, number 3, let me get a drink of water real quick. Number 3, you can use your blog, if it's well done, as a resource library, right? So imagine for a second, right? And this is, again, if you don't know what to write about, this is something you can write about. So imagine that you wrote a quick blog post about about the questions that you get asked most often, right? When people ask you those things again and again, you probably just go, hey, that's a good thing to write about. And then when you get asked it the next time, you could just point them to your blog. Or, look, if they're already clients of yours, they may never ask you that question because they learned it from you and your blog already. All right. Number 4, it will build credibility for your personal brand. It will establish you. It has the ability to establish you as that expert, right? So if you're pitching yourself, if you're pitching yourself as the downtown condo expert, and I find your blog and I see that you have tons of interesting posts about downtown San Diego, because I'm in San Diego, that's going to carry a lot of weight with me. Now, look, here's an add-on benefit of doing just that. Doing a blog or a podcast, again, I said it earlier, it's a ton of work. Mainly because it's like a job, right? For me, I get no pleasure. It's a chore to write a blog post. I don't like doing it, but I know I have to. Some people love to write, and for you guys, good for you. But for me, I have to sit down and I have to make sure that I deliver 3 episodes a week. So imagine for you, right? For you and your own blog. Imagine if you wanted to do the same. You wanted to deliver 3 great blog posts per week. And by the way, I know some bloggers, this is incredible. And you have to have some dedication. But for what I'm about to say, some people, the really popular bloggers, they will put 30 hours of work into a single blog post. I can't even imagine that. It better that if I put 30 hours into something, it better be like pooping gold. But some people do that. So for you, so let's say that let's say you have to sit down, you have to in front of your computer, your laptop, your tablet. Number 1, you have to find stuff you want to write about, right? If it's not off the top of your head, so you have to go find it. So that does a couple of things. Number 1, right? Imagine you are that downtown condo expert guy, and that's what you're pitching. So you are going to try to find interesting stuff to write about downtown condos. So you sit down in front of your computer. You're going to go over a ton of information. That makes you, one, you're going to be more well-informed than the next guy. Number 1, which is kind of cool. Right. I mean, that establishes you, that actually helps you in establishing yourself as that expert in the area that you're writing about. And also, here's the other sort of add-on, right? Your writing is going to get better. Your ability to pitch will get better. Okay. Moving on. As I said earlier, the thing that stops most bloggers or writers or whatever, what hangs them up is not having content, right? People get stuck on what to write about. So for you, hopefully you have some sort of niche, right? We've heard over and over again, niche down. Now that niche could be either, hey, listen, my niche is millennials, marketing to millennials. My niche is downtown condos. My niche is beachfront property, whatever it is. If you have a niche, you should be able to find a lot of stuff to write about. If not, there's lots of general things you could write about, right? I mean, you could write about, first-time homebuyer tips, financing a new home, how to baby-proof your home, what to know about remodeling, how to choose a painting contractor, a ton of stuff. So, as I said earlier, maybe you're not a good writer. Writing's a skill. That's okay. That's okay if you're not a good writer. You can still have a great blog. And there are lots of great bloggers who don't write anything. And if you're asking, how am I supposed to have a blog but not write anything? It's something called content curation, where you go out, you find articles, you find things that other people have written, and you can link to them in your, you could write you have to write a few sentences, but you can say, hey, listen, all about first time home buyers, and point them to an Inman.com or Zillow. There's lots of places where you can source content. You can go out and curate content. Now, if you want to do some content curation, I will warn you, you can't just go out and copy and paste something Bonnie Blogger went out and wrote, right? That's Bonnie Blogger stuff. There's copyright issues. And so, look, nobody wants to get in trouble. And if you want to dig into content curation, just do a Google search. Google content curation. Do Google content curation primer, and there's a lot of stuff out there. Because to be honest with you, most people are not content makers, creators. Most people are a blend of content creation and content curation. All right. Another benefit of putting the work, and it is work, into your blog. Now, most of my blog notes or show notes, right? So that's where my blog is, right? I do a show. I interview somebody. I interview Tom Ferry, Grant Cardone, whatever. I have to go listen to it again and write out get the kind of topical, salient, good points and put them down on paper. So most of my blogs, most of my posts are between 400 and 900 words. And by the way, so far this post is about 836 words. So I've been talking now for 16 minutes, and so it took me 16 minutes to say just under 1,000 words. But so imagine you have copy. It's at least 400 words long. Now here's what you can do. You can strip that down. You can strip that 400 words down and get multiple Facebook posts. So you get multiple Facebook posts. You can further strip that down and you can get multiple tweets. So by putting in the effort to really sit down and create a blog post, you are able to update your whole social media strategy, again, just by boiling out the salient points on whatever you're talking about in your blog post. And again, this further tops off your personal brand expertise. Remember, right? People not only search for homes online. I mean, that's the first thing they do when they want to, buy or sell their house. But they also, if they come across you, and they should come across you, right? Again, imagine you're that downtown condo expert, and you have all this content around downtown condos, and I want to buy a downtown condo. I'm going to Google that. I'm going to search for those terms, downtown condo San Diego. And, in addition to finding, the stuff that the big portals like Zillow and Trulia Redfin are going to put out there, I want to find your stuff. And the only way I'm going to find your stuff is if you put it out there and you put it out there, in that format in terms of branding yourself around downtown condo expert. Okay. So again, if you do all this stuff, right, I find you, I see your blog. I'm like, hey, Toby's doing a pretty good job. He looks like a pretty knowledgeable guy, right? Then I'm going to Google Toby Salgado, and then I find his Facebook stuff. And then I see that he's active on Facebook. I see that people are following him. And then I'm going to see his Twitter. And then finally I'm going to get to his LinkedIn. And then the next step after I do all that stuff, I'm going to go, hey, Toby's my guy. I'm going to get a downtown condo. And he is going to sell mine, or he's going to go find one for me. All right. That's great. Building your personal brand, your expertise, your knowledge, and you're updating your social media strategy. Beautiful. What about getting leads, right? Because I got to get those leads. I got to get you to my to see my blog post. I got to get you to my Facebook page, my Twitter account, my LinkedIn page, and then I need you to call me. Okay. How can a blog get you to call me? I'll tell you. But let me share some results from one other guy. Now, this guy, I'm probably going to have this guy on the show. His name is Jay Thompson, and he's at Zillow right now. I wanted to get Spencer Raskoff on the show, right? The CEO of Zillow. And because they're public or whatever, I just couldn't get that guy on. So they offered me up Jay a long time ago, and I turned him down, but I might have him on the show. So Jay Thompson, the guy's at Zillow. Now, before that, he had a blog. Now, that blog is still up. It is called Phoenix Real Estate Guy, and I'm going to link to it in the notes show. Now, it is a super popular blog. Now, I've been to it. I don't really see what's magical about it, because maybe I haven't really dug into it. But he's got a super popular blog. Now, here's what Jay says about lead generation. Now, every month he gets leads that are in the thousands, right? Thousands of leads every month. How about, would you like that? What about hundreds? I'm sure you would love 10, or what if you got 2 a week, 2 high quality leads a week, people that have been listening to you. They've been reading your words. They're getting a sense of your personality from your blog. And then they reach out to you, done, right? Done deal. If people are just like you guys are listening to me, you guys get a sense of who I am. You guys know what makes me tick, because I talk about, I throw some of my personal self into each of these podcast episodes. So, when people call me and I chat with them or we trade emails, look, it's people they go, man, I feel like I kind of know you, Toby. And that's cool. Right. So again, if you had a blog and you updated it, and you through that same kind of, hey, I'm going to talk to you about the first time home buyer, but let me tell you about my first time home purchase. Again, you're forming a personal relationship with these people. And I will tell you that the next step up is you guys doing a podcast. And if you could do a podcast, if you could be the downtown condo expert and do a podcast, or look, beachfront homes, or, waterfront property or desert property, whatever it is, mountain cabins, and you talked about what's going on, look, this is a radio show. What can you say on the radio? You can talk about personal finance. Again, it's all consumer-based stuff, right? And that's a brilliance of a blog or a podcast. You sell real estate, but your market is a consumer. Somebody's going to consume that. They're going to be your client, and everybody has the same issues, right? So we all are concerned about personal finance. We all are concerned about the economy. We're all concerned. We want to know what the best, whatever. We're humans that are living in America. We all experience and have the same thing. So there's so much stuff when you don't know what to write about, or you don't know what to talk about on your blog, there's lots of things that you can talk about. All right. So moving on, I kind of got off the track there for a second. So going back to Jay. So Jay got thousands of leads every month. Now, I don't know if he sold the blog. I don't know if he still does that or not, but I know that he did. He put that in print. I read that. He didn't tell me that personally. I read that. He also says in this article that I found, he said that 80% of his business came directly from his blog. All right, 80%. That's crazy. I just combined incredible and crazy. I said in crazy. That's incredible. And so look, here's the kicker. The kicker is this, that he's gotten deals from blog posts that he's written 3 and 4 years ago. And I have to tell you, I don't know. I thought about this for a little while. I don't know what other kind of medium will yield those kinds of results. Right? What other kind of advertising that you can put out there that will get you deals from stuff that you did 3 years ago? It's not a magazine, right? Nobody's going to pick up a 3-year-old magazine. Nobody's going to look at a 3-year-old, anything. But a blog, people will. And look, this podcast, it's 2014 right now. People are going to be listening to this thing in 2018. So again, that's another reason why you should take the time out and start your blog and keep it up to date. Here's the other thing, right? It's free, right? It's kind of like, my coaching clients, I tell them to go out. Oh, by the way, a spot just opened up. So I have one more spot. My buddy Jeff, he's kind of moved on from me. Well, he's had some stuff happen, but anyhow, he's had some changes in his where he works. So If you are looking to level up and get some coaching, reach out to me and let's see if we're a fit. All right. So much like, right. So the point that I was getting at is this: people have a farm. I encourage people to have a farm. I encourage people to be out in their farm, and especially for the new-ish agent where you can't afford other types of marketing, having a farm and door knocking, it works and it's free. All it does, it takes your time. That's it. Same thing like a blog. It works and it's free. All it does, take your time. Now it's almost free, right? So here's what I would suggest. On your website, on your real estate website, you should have a tab that says blog. Okay. And create your blogs and updating there. Then you should also have your custom blog, right? You should go to GoDaddy, get a unique domain name, Toby's real estate blog, downtown condo, San Diego expert, San Diego condo expert, whatever it is. Go get a unique domain name and double post your content. Now, some other bloggers out there might say that's a big no-no. And look, if double posting your content, even though it's my content, I'm not ripping it off from someone else. So I think it's totally fine. And you're to overutilize or multi-purpose that content for both my business blog and my personal blog. I don't see a problem. I don't think Google will ding you. So listen, I knew I was going to do this post. So I went to GoDaddy and I cut a deal with those guys. And here's what I got you. So you can get a free domain name and hosting for your new custom blog for $3.49, $3.50 a month. So again, for $3.50 a month, right, less than $40 a year, you can get your custom domain name for free and get it hosted. If you want that, you can just go to superagentslive.com/GoDaddy deal. And by the way, it's also going to be on the show notes. So if you forget that, just go to the show notes. All right. So how else will a blog help you? What can I do to convince you that you should put time into your blog? All right. You can use it to grow your list. Right. So we're always trying to grow our list. We're always trying to grow our sphere. Somebody that we can put on our in our database and send them out whatever stuff we want to send them out. So on your blog and on your website, you have to, if you want to grow your list, right, you have to provide a call to action. You have to ask them to do something. Look, here's a call to action. Here's what I do on Super Agents Live. Super Agents Live, you go to Super Agents Live. I wrote a little ebook, and it's like I don't know what it is. Forget the title. It's like 11 tips, 11 super agent tips or whatever. And I get, just so you know, right. So I started off a few months ago with 0 list and I have about 1,000 people on the list. So 1,000 people have downloaded my book. Well, it's only 8 pages, but can you do that? Sure you can. Go write a little ebook, again, financing your new home or first time home buyer tips, whatever, put it out there. And you're going to give the book away for free, but the cost, right? What you're going to ask them to do, ask them to pay is their email address. So now you're building your list. That's another thing you can do. What else can you do to begin grabbing leads from your blog? So one thing you can do, and there is lots of things you can do with this. You can jack in an IDX feed. And, you can start surfacing some homes in relevant areas. Then there's a lots of things you can do with that IDX feed. And it's so many that I'm not going to even get into it here. But look, there's lots of ways you can make your blog sticky, right? To make it relevant, to build your brand and position yourself as an expert in your little niche. So look, guys, I know this stuff is not sexy. And this kind of content can even feel dull at times. But these things, building your list, establishing yourself as an expert, these are all cornerstones to you building a successful and long-lasting business. Hey, man, thanks for sticking with me on this one. And to be totally honest, I got a little bored with this content. But I felt like I should talk to you, spend a little time talking about it. So hopefully you were not bored. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully that you came away understanding that a blog is a tool that you guys should be using. All right. We are back again with Greg's Gold. Updates with Greg. Greg, you did a great episode last week talking about open houses and how to phrase certain things so you don't, so you have the best chance of working with people. Today's episode, I think, or a segment is a little bit on that, right?
It is. It's going to be, so we've engaged with them. Now that they like us, we like them. We're working together. The trust is built. Now they're clients, right?
Okay.
I'm going to go over 7 different phrases that we need to avoid that we all actually use. Before I started researching this stuff, man, I was using these same phrases. I started learning the differences. I was beta testing on clients. The reactions were staggering. So these are 7 different phrases to avoid. Yeah,
listen, I can't wait to hear that. And one thing that I have in my lexicon or my vernacular is I say guys for everybody. Guys, girl, I just say guys, and I'm really trying to get that out of my the way I talk, because I
do the same thing.
Yeah. So that's just a word.
We both mean both genders, everybody involved, the whole shebang.
Yeah, everybody, all you people. All right, so yeah, let's get into the 7.
Okay, so phrase 1 is here's a problem, or here's the problem, I might say. Clients don't really want to hear about a problem associated with buying or selling their home. They just don't. They'd rather just, hear about you solving it, because real estate agents, that's what we do. We're hired to solve problems. You have a house, we need to sell it, you find a way to sell it, right?
Yeah.
So instead of saying, here's the problem, you can use words such as like a challenge or opportunity. So it could sound something like this. Here's our challenge. We need to fix up the house on a small budget, and then we can talk about where we can start, on maybe marketing it, remarketing it again, or whatever else. So we typically use, opportunity. So here's the opportunity that we're going to be facing today, guys. We have the opportunity to go in there and really put some new, fresh paint into this house and put some new carpet and give it some new life, so the buyers will come in and fall in love with it. Do you agree that's a good opportunity? That opportunity is for me is better than challenge. Challenge then is therefore again more of a challenging word. It presents a problem, and I want to eliminate that in the client's eyes. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. And I totally agree. And as I'm thinking about what you said here, use opportunity. Do you follow that up with the benefit? Hey, here's we have an opportunity right now to put new paint on, and the benefit is, or do you just go?
We're going to have more people fall in love with it. We all know that, buyers, buy with their hearts and then confirm it with their minds. So let's have Mrs. Buyer. We all know Mrs. Buyer is the one really driving the ship here. I mean, let's be honest. If she comes in and it smells like mold and the paint is got, someone's decided to drag markers all the way down the walls because they didn't want to leave their house or whatnot, or just lack of cleanliness. Imagine if you go down to Kellymore or Home Depot or Ace or whatever, and you grab a couple cans of paint, you slap them up on the walls, it's got that new fresh paint smell. It's going to have the new carpet in there. It's not expensive, but it is effective. So yeah, absolutely. You say, here's the opportunity. We're going to have a lot more folks, in my opinion, fall in love with the property because, we need to get more bodies in here. And if we can say, look, new paint and new carpet, a lot of people are going to say, oh my gosh, okay, 2 things I don't need to do anymore. Well, let's go look at this house. Or if the buyers are right on that edge, like we talked about last week, they're right on that edge on pricing.
Yeah.
Well, now they don't have to spend that extra money.
Is it? Right. Okay. So we're talking about phrases, but I want to move into a different sort of territory here. Is it? Let's say that the property definitely needs new carpet and it definitely needs paint. I mean, every house can use a tune up on the paint side of it. Are you better off as a seller to should you do the work and spend that $5,000? Or leave the property as is and offer a $5,000 credit for the new buyers, so that they can choose what.
Huh? Yeah. So they can choose what they want to put in it, right?
Yeah.
So that's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Because you want to price it out and see if the juice is worth the squeeze. If the budget allows it and the market allows it, we would say go in and get the work done. Actually, I got a great example for you. Okay, so in our marketplace, it's a little bit on the higher end side, and we had a property that came on the market for $2,500,000. nice house, one of the best streets in all of this, in the city that we work in. It has everything you need. But our seller was unwilling to do small, things such as like the carpet between the kitchen and the family room was fraying at the seam there, and it was noticeable. I mean, I walked in like, oh, what the heck's wrong with the carpet? And why is there there's no pizzazz. There's nothing wowing me about this property. It's very vanilla. And so we went on the market. We didn't get any response, and so she's ticked off. Well, last week we went on and brought another property on for $2,350,000. And we had a stager go in, and we repainted this thing from head to toe. We did, little work here and there. We made it shine, right? Well, when you walked into these two different homes, and they're both comparable locations in the whole nine, one of them, you could definitely see a visible difference, and the public's response was beyond good. The seller of our first house that did not do the work went over. She met the stager and instantly hired him on the spot, and we're going to go put a significant amount of money into her place to help her bring it up to stuff. So it's a double-edged sword. I mean, if the seller doesn't have the money, you don't do the work, you just sell it for a lower price. If they have the money and they can justify the cost and it goes above what they put into it, then yeah, absolutely go do it.
Got it. Okay, so we're a little bit off topic, but
we took a hard left.
We did. Sorry, that's when the show does that. But so, as a listing person, a listing agent, when should I have that conversation?
Up front, right in the very beginning. After you get that listing appointment and you have the document signed, you're just walking around what you need to get done. This is when we take the gloves off and it's bare knuckle fighting. I mean, you don't sit there and coddle them and say, well, you know what? I think you're right, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. I don't think we need to do anything. When inside your head you're going, oh my God, this thing, we're screwed.
Got it. So get it signed, and now you guys are partners. And okay, all right. So listen. Use opportunity instead of challenge. What's number 2?
Okay, so phrase 2 is I'll try. This phrase is just chock full of doubt. It gives the impression that you're already, kind of not really going to give it your 100%. Instead of using I'll try, what we use is we say I will. So, instead of, well, I'll try to get that done, I will get that done.
Yes.
And then you just make it happen because you're a man and woman of your word, right?
Right.
So instead of like, well, we're going to sort of kind of try to do this. No, remember, you were hired as a problem solver. Problem solvers don't try to get it done. They just get it done.
Right.
So I will do this. So that's phrase 3 here.
Okay.
That's phrase 2. Phrase 3. Yeah. So phrase 3 is but. This is a interesting word because we all use it in our daily conversations. This word is often an I can't in disguise. You have those conversations like, yeah. We should probably totally go get lunch, but
yeah.
You're like, yeah, we're never going to go get that lunch. So instead of doing that, I would use the word and. So it would kind of work like this. I will market your property at this price for 4 weeks, and if we don't receive any offers, I'll go and we'll ask for a price adjustment. Is that fair?
Got it.
It's not the doubt, and they're going, well, I don't think we're going to do it. I can't see how we're going to actually get this price at this, where we are in the marketplace. So we replace but with and.
Say those 2 sentences back to back, using but and then use and.
Okay. I will market your property at this price for 4 weeks, but if we don't receive any offers, I'll go back to you and we'll ask for a price adjustment. Then here's the replacing it with and. I will market your property at this price for 4 weeks, and if we don't receive any offers, I'll come back to you and we'll ask for a price adjustment.
Got it. But okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm not. I don't know that I'm grasping the full value of that. I mean, So you're saying that if I use but is often disguised as can't. Okay.
You know what? It's all about the presentation. It's how you present it to the people. So let's say someone has a very, very soft personality, and anything that they say is like liquid gold. it's not really going to matter what comes out of their mouth. It's the fact that the trust is built there, right?
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to take any kind of doubt out of the seller's minds or the buyer's minds that you can't get it done or anything else. You just want to give them the reassurance in your verbiage that there's no doubt in your mind that this is going to take place. And you're 100% confident, and they hire the right person. That's all that we're trying to do.
You know, I used to have a guy. At this other company that I used to work with. Would all have these meetings, and there's this one guy, this MBA guy that I always end up sparring with. And here's what he would do. You can either say, I can say, hey, the sky is blue, and you can say, I agree. Right? How he would answer it was, I'd say the sky is blue. He'd say, I don't disagree. He's saying don't and disagree, even though he's saying I agree. And that crap would throw me all the time. And that is some kind of sales tactic somewhere. I don't exactly know. I use it sometimes to confuse people. But to be in agreement, instead of saying I agree, I'd say I don't disagree. I don't know how that ties into can't and but. Okay, but let's move on.
I don't know. But
let's move on.
It comes down to verbiage again. You're sitting there going, wait, what'd you say?
Right.
Are you on my side or are you not on my side? What's going on?
Right.
Okay, so here's one that we all use in both personal and professional lives, and it can cause major problems. And the phrase number 4 is "you should." Now, this thing is, this is a marriage killer, and this is a sales killer, man.
Yes.
Deep down, you want to say this to your sellers or buyers. You should paint the exterior and remove all those dead shrubs and dead grass and stuff. Instead of actually saying you should do this. You want to create a sense of empowerment. So take out "you should" and you turn it into a more of a team comment, so that we're working on the same team. We kind of run like this: if we paint the exterior of the house and work on a bit of the landscaping, we'll have a better position to increase the asking price. It's very much, it's not, we're not pointing any fingers, but we are now a team on this, and we're going to work together on it. So you're solidifying your relationship with the seller, you're bringing them into the fold, and you're making it a joint decision. It's very powerful. I use this, and it is very powerful. As soon as we pick up a listing, there's no longer I and you. It's
we, right. No, I love that. When you use we, we're all on the same team. I think that I would struggle with that. I think I can certainly use we, but I think I would say we should think about, if we paint. Okay. All right. I love that. Okay.
So just some fun stuff, man. And it gives a sense that there's a bigger presence behind you if you're a single agent. You can say, hey, you know what, we're going to be working on this hard for you.
Right.
Okay, there's a bunch of you now. Yeah. Awesome. I got more people. I got, paying the same price, and I got a whole crew. This couldn't get much better.
I use that one all the time.
So phrase 5, you have to. As in, you have to list this price, list the home at this price to get any activity. Phrases like this often, they make people pretty upset, simply put, because it's really kind of taking away their sense of control. You have to do this, which is when you're talking to your kid. Look, Johnny, you have to do blah, 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 blah. Well, he's going, well, what if I don't want to do this? So it's the same instance in business. So you can change it and say, you can position this property anywhere you want in the market that fits your needs, but remembering that homes sell faster at one price compared to another. So you're giving them the latitude or enough rope to go hang themselves if they want to, and sometimes you have to do it to sellers. You have to go out there and say, look, all right, fine. You are the ultimate boss. You hired me. I work for you. We can list this at any price that you want, but what we're seeing is the fact that, homes in this marketplace are selling at this price point. But yeah, absolutely. Let's go out there and try it.
You just said "but" twice.
I did, but I'm not trying to sell you.
All right. Okay.
I should probably watch my butts.
Right.
Okay. Phrase 6. It's not my fault. This is a quiet killer, as I kind of like to say, because when you say it's not my fault, even if you don't say it's not my fault, like when the seller or buyer is just beating you down for something, and you're thinking, going, dude, this is not my fault. It's not my fault. You wouldn't step up to the plate and do, either do the work that's needed or come up with a price that we need to do. It's just not the way that it works. This is where you just need to step up and be the man or the woman that you are of integrity. And since you are the CEO of your business, you need to have the phrase of, I take complete control of of anything that happens in my industry or my business. So, you know what, Toby, you didn't step up. You didn't get us the house that we wanted to get. And you're thinking, Greg, you've lost your marbles. You guys came in 50,000 under asking, with all kinds of different contingencies. They have to sell a house. What are you talking about? I didn't. It's my fault.
Right.
But you know what? What agents need to do is not pass the buck on to the client. You're going to say, you know what? Absolutely, we are going to do better on the next one. I take complete. Not control or
responsibility.
What I'm looking for. Thank you. Responsibility for this. I will. What can I do better to help you? How can I better serve you in this next opportunity? Because it gives them the sense of, they're in control still, but you could cancel the relationship anytime if they become too much of a headache. But it goes back to not making them look stupid, because they know that they didn't step it up. They know they didn't do it. No, don't need to rub it in their face.
Right. Hey, Greg, I take full responsibility for not finding you a house or getting it sold. I didn't do a good enough job uncovering what you are really looking for. Let's sit down and explain to me again what you really want to achieve out of this transaction.
Well, yeah, that's what I've been talking about, Toby, and I'm really happy you said that. Absolutely. You know what? I'll get my wife on the phone tonight after work, and we'll all sit down and we'll have a conference call. I like that idea.
Right. Okay.
Now he's the man, you're the agent, everybody wins.
Right.
And you're in your head going, I got to train these fools.
Right.
Get these clowns on board with us, so they actually see what's going on. It takes a couple of times. If they lose out on enough houses, all of a sudden you become, you're walking on water when you talk, because you're like, hey guys, what I suggested in the past, we might want to step up and do this again now.
Right.
And they'll listen to you.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. The phrase 7, the final one here is no problem. It sounds harmless, right? But slow down there. This is actually one of those problems that when you say there's no problem, it implies that the request could have been a problem in the past. So what we do is we don't ever say, oh, hey, no problem at all. I say, hey, no, it's my pleasure to get that for you, or it's my pleasure to work on that, or it's, I just replace my no problem with my pleasure. Because again, you get to go out this whole industry with a servant's heart, right?
Yeah.
So a servant's heart's going to say, it'd be my pleasure to work on that. It would be my pleasure to get this information for you. Even if you really don't want to, it doesn't really matter. This is the business we're all in. And this is a servant-based business, and we need to come across in our verbiage, in our attire, in our attitude, and in everything else in how we present ourselves as be willing to, do what it takes for our clients to serve them with our utmost and best abilities. Do you agree?
Right. Yeah, I do.
Actually, my father, he has a saying that, we did not make this one up. This is the Ritz-Carlton's saying for their employees. It says, we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And when you start thinking about it that way, the biggest yahoo that's in your client list right now, you know what? Just treat them as a lady and a gentleman. They will reciprocate with appropriate action.
Right. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that.
So, those are the small little tweaks, man, but they'll make a big difference.
Right. I mean, look, the last one, I don't want to dig into it, but the last one, I got to put some thought into it, right? Saying my pleasure instead of no problem. I tend to say no problem, no problem, no sweat. I'm on it. I got to think about how that would actually imply that it could have been a problem. But look, either way, it sounds much, but hey, can you get me that, Greg or Toby? My pleasure. I love.
It'd be a pleasure to get that.
Silky.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Silky. Greg, golden nuggets as usual. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hey,
18 minutes
my
again.
pleasure,
Dang.
man.
Look,
we went over, huh?
We went over again.
You know what?
Go ahead.
That's okay. It's good value, man, and I'm so excited to bring this to folks. You know, I'm always here to serve, as I say every single time when I sign off with you guys. But I truly mean it, and anyone who reaches out to me absolutely knows that. I'll call you back within minutes of getting the email if I'm not in another appointment, and we'll talk until you have a clear answer of what you need. So I'm pumped, man. I'm so honored to be here.
I know. Look, here's what I feel bad. I mean, you're out there, you're killing it in real estate. You know, you have a thriving coaching business, and you know, you could have made a couple grand spending it somewhere else. So I'm glad you came on the show and spent it with me, spent it with the audience. Hopefully, everybody did get some nuggets out of this, and they can implement some of these small tweaks in their businesses today. Greg, I look forward to talking to you next week.
Can't wait, Toby. Thanks so much, you guys. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Talk to you next week.
My man.